was kind. He was calm. He never raised his voice, never struck back. So people thought he was weak. One day, someone spat in his face. He wiped it, bowed his head, and said softly, "You've just harmed yourself, more than you've harmed me." That night, the man who spat couldn't sleep, because kindness, when it doesn't break, is terrifying. So let me ask you, is it possible to be soft and still unshakable? Can you live with compassion without letting others walk over you? Maybe. True strength is silent. His name was Samuel. He lived in a quiet village where the air was clean and people nodded when they passed each other. Samuel was different. He never shouted, never fought. He helped strangers, fed stray dogs, and always smiled. But you know how the world works. Kindness is often mistaken for weakness. And so some laughed at him, some ignored him, some even took advantage. There was one man in the village, Vincent, hot-tempered, proud, feared by many. He didn't like Samuel, maybe because Samuel made him feel small without saying a word. One day, in the village square, Vincent shoved Samuel hard. The crowd froze. Samuel stumbled, caught his balance, and looked him in the eye, but he didn't fight back. He simply said, "I don't know what pain you carry, but I will not carry it for you." Vincent laughed, called him a coward, walked away. But that night, Vincent couldn't sleep. The words echoed, "I will not carry it for you." Days passed. Vincent tried again, this time, throwing Samuel's fruit basket on the ground. Samuel looked at the scattered fruit, then at Vincent. He bent down and picked up the fruit, one by one, in silence. The villagers watched. Some shook their heads, some whispered, "Why doesn't he stand up for himself?" What they didn't see was that Samuel was standing up. Just not in the way they understood. He was drawing a line, without a sword, without rage, without hate. But then, everything changed. One morning, Samuel found his home vandalized, words painted across the door. "Weakness lives here." He stood still, silent. Then, he washed it off, word by word, no anger, no complaint. But that evening, he did something unexpected. He walked to Vincent's house with a wooden box in his hands. Vincent opened the door, surprised. Inside the box was a mirror and a note. "I've never fought you, but every harm you've given me has only reflected what's inside you. This mirror is yours. I don't accept your pain anymore." Then Samuel turned and walked away. No drama, no revenge, just peace. But this time, it hit different. Vincent broke down. He looked in the mirror, and for the first time, he didn't see a strong man. He saw someone afraid of softness, someone who mistook silence for surrender. The next morning, the whole village woke up to see Vincent, sitting on Samuel's doorstep, waiting, with a fruit basket in his hands and tears in his eyes. He didn't say much, just 3 words. "I was wrong." Samuel smiled, as he always did. But this time, everyone saw it differently, not as weakness, but as a strength few could carry. We often hear it. Be kind. Turn the other cheek. Do no harm. But what happens when your kindness is mistaken for permission? What if silence is read as surrender? What if someone takes your gentleness as a sign that you won't fight back? Let's be clear. Kindness is not weakness. Forgiveness is not submission. And peace is not the absence of power. Samuel understood something most people never learn. He knew the true strength doesn't roar. It stands quietly, firmly, unshakably. He didn't harm, but he didn't allow harm to continue. He drew a boundary with grace. And that is the lesson. In Buddhism, this balance is sacred. Hatred does not cease by hatred, but only by love. This is the eternal law, Dhammapada. But love, real love, must include wisdom, and wisdom knows when to say no. Samuel's refusal to fight back wasn't fear. It was a conscious choice. He saw Vincent's aggression for what it was, a cry for help. He didn't mirror it, he reflected it, just like the mirror in that box. This pain belongs to you. I will not carry it anymore. Think about that. How many times have you carried the pain of others? Let their anger live in you. Let their disrespect define you. You don't have to fight them. You don't have to shout. But you do have to choose. Will you let the fire burn your heart, or will you be the water? The Buddha taught about right effort. It means not allowing evil to grow, but also not responding with more evil. It's a path of discernment. Samuel did resist, but not with fists, not with rage. He resisted with presence, with clarity, with compassion that had teeth. Because compassion, without boundaries, becomes self-destruction. Let me say that again. Compassion without boundaries becomes self-destruction. You can say, I forgive you, but I will not let you do it again. You can say, I care for your suffering, but I will not make it mine. You can love someone and still walk away. That's not cruelty. That's courage. So many of us, we're taught to stay quiet, to keep the peace. But peace that requires silence about suffering is not peace, it's pressure. And one day, it explodes. Samuel never exploded because he never repressed. He processed, he acted, not reacted. There's a big difference. Reaction is fast, emotional, impulsive. Action is rooted, intentional, clear. He chose action, rooted in non-harm, but not rooted in self-erasure. He didn't disappear to be nice. He stood, firm, open, bright. So here's the question. What would happen if you lived like that? If you no longer carried the pain that wasn't yours? If you said, no more. I see you, but I see myself too. It's not easy. Sometimes, the people you love the most will test your limits. Sometimes, your greatest lesson is learning when to stay and when to leave. But remember this, do no harm, but take no nonsense. That is not just a phrase, it's a spiritual practice, a boundary that lets love flow without letting abuse in, a shield made not of anger, but of understanding. Samuel never shouted, but his silence shook the village. He never punished Vincent, but his presence was a mirror. And mirrors don't lie. So ask yourself, what am I allowing that's hurting me? What kindness have I given that turned into self-neglect? Who do I need to forgive, not to let them off the hook, but to finally set myself free? Leave your answer in the comments. This might be the moment someone needs to make the same decision you're afraid to make. Now pause, breathe, and ask yourself, where in my life have I confused kindness with silence? You are allowed to be soft, but you are also allowed to be strong. Both can exist. Both must exist. The world needs more gentle hearts, but not ones that bleed for people who won't stop cutting. Samuel showed us that power doesn't need to shout, that peace doesn't mean surrender, that you can bow your head and still walk with dignity. Maybe today, you're carrying someone's pain, someone's disrespect, someone's weight. That isn't yours. Let it go. Kindly, calmly, clearly. Say it in your heart. I will not harm you, but I will no longer harm myself by letting this continue. That's not selfish. That's sacred. So if this story touched something in you, don't let it stop here. Share it. Let someone who's hurting hear this voice. Let someone who's confused find their boundary. Let someone who's silent remember their strength. Tell us in the comments, I choose kindness with boundaries. Or, no more nonsense. I choose peace with strength. And if you've ever had to walk away from something toxic, tell your story. Someone needs to read it. Maybe that someone is you. Follow this channel for more stories like this. Stories that heal. Stories that awaken. Stories that remind us that we don't need to fight to be strong. But we also don't need to stay silent to be good. Because real compassion comes with courage. And the most powerful sentence you'll ever say might just be, enough.